Welcome to Blog Talk Radio in high fidelity.
No intro music. Beeb, what are you doing over there? What's going on at Beeb Industries where we don't get any intro music?
Telling you, I got all these bills on automatic payment out of the checking account. I'm telling you, the money's there, so I don't know what happened. I don't know what's happening here.
Eddie's not Eddie Hearn's not paying. Oh, there we go.
From Cincinnati, you're listening to the Ringside Reporter podcast. All the news from the world of boxing right here.
Well, I'm talking to you the way I want to talk to you.
Now, here's your host, Eric Lorda.
I feel like we should just be on like public access cable somewhere. You know those lousy shows that you see on like late night public access cable where they, you know, even guys on like public access cable are probably just listening to us like, wow, just get it together over there, guys, you know? All right. Well, in case you haven't figured it out.
Go ahead.
In case you haven't figured it out, we are live. Welcome to the Ringside Reporter podcast where we talk about the latest boxing news. If it's related to boxing, we'll talk about it here. My name is Eric Lorta, and I'm here with my co-host, Ringside Robert, and England's adopted son, Joe Habib. We have a great show for you today, and as always, you can catch us on the web at ringsidereporter.com. If you want to call and ask questions, you can call in right now at 323-870-3857. And, you know, in theory, we'll be here till about 9 o'clock tonight, but with the show and all the news that we have to cover, we'll probably be here till about 7:15. Not much going on in the world here. Let me tell you what we're going to talk about today. The Triple G and Canelo press conference. After all the bad blood, tons of name calling, how did the press conference go? Surely it had to be exciting, correct? We'll tell you all about it. And we also preview the upcoming Manny Pacquiao versus Lucas Matthysse fight. But first, we get started with all the action this weekend. And as I said, it was very limited. José Ramírez versus Danny O'Connor in the main event on ESPN was canceled. Danny O'Connor was taken to the hospital due to dehydration while cutting weight. This fight was canceled. We're seeing more and more of this, of fighters missing weights and everything like that. What do you, I mean, Beeb, obviously the fight didn't take place, but what are your thoughts on this? We are seeing more and more of this, no?
Yeah, and I've never, again, I know a lot of people are proponents of the day before weigh-in. And this is one of the reasons why I don't like the day before weigh-in, because fighters, as I said before, they have this false sense of security that, you know what, I'm going to basically starve myself the last week of the fight, get that stubborn five pounds off, and I'll just throw everything back in my system, you know, within that 36-hour period that I have to rehydrate. And it just doesn't always work that way because, as I've said many times, and I'm not a doctor, but I mean, this is pretty basic knowledge out there if you do the research. You know, you can't put all those electrolytes back in your body within 24 to 36 hours. You need a good 72 hours, sometimes even more than that, to get everything out, you know, put everything back in, I should say, that you've depleted out. And it's a tough game that you play when you do that, because you're going to hit the wall. You can do it maybe once, you can do it twice, but there's going to be a time when you hit the wall, and Danny O'Connor hit that wall, and when he hit that wall, it was head-on collision, and it wasn't pretty. You know, I saw some photos of him in the hospital, and he just didn't look good. I'm sure he'll be all right, but he's going to have to, you know, really think about, should I stay at 147 or not, or should I move up to 154? Because I just don't like, you know, what's been going on, the precedent that's been set by these fighters where they can just starve themselves and, and have that security blanket of that 36 hours feeling like, I can be back to the guy that I am when I'm at my walk around weight. It doesn't work that way. The human body doesn't work that way. You punish the human body, it's going to punish you back.
Yeah, very much, man. So that fight was canceled, and then the main event became Egidijus Kavaliauskas versus Juan Carlos Abreu. Robert, did I do that okay?
Pretty close.
Yeah, that's as close as close as I would get. By the way, José Ramírez fights at 140, Beeb, not 147. So.
Oh, that's correct. Yeah. Well, that is correct.
All right. So Kavaliauskas wins by unanimous decision by the scores of 97-93 twice and 96-94. Robert, what did you think of this fight?
Actually, this fight didn't show me a whole heck of a lot. Now, I'm very high on the machine. Every time I've seen him fight, he's always looked impressive. But this is the first time he's ever went 10 rounds, and it showed. He needs to work on his conditioning for second half of fights. Now, the other guy that he was fighting didn't do a whole hell of a lot either. You know, it looks like both of these guys are very happy to go the distance. You know, they cut each other up with headbutts and stuff like that. It was pretty ugly. But I think Kavaliauskas here needs to look at the film and go back and work on things, because it's obvious if he doesn't put people away early, he's got weaknesses the later you take him in fights, because he's known for knocking people out. And the last night was the first time he went 10 rounds, and it showed. So he's got a lot to work on. They were trying to hype him up for bigger fights. This fight showed last night he's not ready for those kind of things.
Yeah, not yet. Beeb, what were your impressions?
You know, it just seemed like both guys are going through the motions. It was like, you know, if you don't press me, I'm not going to press you. And it was a very uneventful fight. It really was. And you just got the sense that both guys could have done a lot more than what they did. And you know, it was a showcase fight, but you know, it didn't look like a showcase fight. It just looked like two fighters going through the motions, if you want to be honest.
Yeah. All right, Andy Vences versus Frank de Alba, 10 rounds, junior lightweights. Vences wins a unanimous decision by the scores of 99-91 twice and 98-92. Robert, a fairly one-sided fight?
Yeah, it was pretty obvious who was going to win here. And congratulations to the crowd in Fresno. They booed both of these fights out of the ring.
Yeah, they did.
Fresno is a pretty tough fight town, and they're you know, even though they're not known for being a sophisticated fight you know, fans, they are you know, because most of the people who live there are you know, farm workers, and they're Hispanics, and they know what they want to see in the ring, and they didn't see this last night, and so congratulations to them for showing their displeasure.
There you go. And I heard ESPN Plus, and I think, was that Andy Ruiz? Was he on ESPN Plus?
Yeah.
Okay. And I heard the ESPN Plus feed was crashing or going in and out or something like that. It wasn't great, but Andy Ruiz versus Kevin Johnson. I can't believe Kevin Johnson's still around.
Yeah.
10 rounds heavyweights, and Ruiz won a unanimous decision by the scores of 97-93, 97-93, and 99-91. Overall, man, this card really left a lot to be desired. That said, the main event was taken off the card, but I think even with the main event on the card, it wasn't great, you know. I don't know. Beeb, you had a good point prior to coming on the show and saying that most of the ESPN cards so far with Top Rank have been showcase fights, with the exception of Linares Lomachenko.
Yeah.
And Crawford Horn, you could even argue, was a showcase fight. I mean, everybody knew who was going to win that.
Well, it was a very one-sided fight. It wasn't, you know, there was at no point in time did you ever think Crawford was in danger of losing that fight. Whereas when we saw Lomachenko go down, you're like, whoa, what's going on here? And going in, Lomachenko was heavily favored, so we were pleasantly surprised that you know, Linares. I kind of thought Linares would give him some challenge here and there, but I didn't think that Linares would press him like that and be so close in the scorecards. I had the fight very close before Linares got knocked out. I thought it was still within reach for him to win. And other than that fight, I can't look at one fight or one card that's been really earth-shattering at all. I mean, all these other cards have been showcase fights. They've been very uneventful. You know, the guy that you knew was going to win, he won, and he won handily. And again, I mean, I don't know how long they can keep up putting on cards like this and not getting any backlash from the fans and also from ESPN. How long is ESPN going to allow this to go on? I know they pulled the plug on PBC over there because they weren't happy what was going on. But I don't see much of a difference. I think the PBC fights were better than these fights. If I'm going to be fair,
bigger names
Yeah.
too. You know?
yeah.
Bigger names. Yeah, it was. It's odd to me.
Well,
It's odd to me that ESPN got rid of PBC and picked up Top Rank, who has less fighters and less big names, and this is what they're putting on. I mean, the other.
And it's the same thing with the Golden Boy cards too. The Golden Boy cards have been horrific.
Terrible.
They've been horrific.
Those are like, you remember the USA Tuesday night? That was fights, man. Only Tuesday night fights at least have some names on them. Remember, they would have some like showcase type names on them, man. These guys have nothing.
Yeah,
it's awful.
I know.
I'm going to be Jason's pitbull this week.
And ESPN.
I'm going to be Jason's pitbull this week, and I'm going to be saying if these were PBC cards, we would never hear the end of it by some of these so-called journalists out there.
Okay, now to my point. ESPN thought so little of Terrence Crawford, they stuck him on an app, and Terrence Crawford is probably the biggest star that Top Rank has, and they didn't even put him on regular TV. I mean, that says a whole lot right there. I mean, come on. This whole ESPN deal looked good in the beginning, but it's turned out to be disaster. I mean, next week, they're going to show Regis Prograis on regular ESPN, but they're going to show Manny Pacquiao on ESPN Plus. So, I mean, it's almost like they don't know which fights to put on actual TV and which fights to stick on their app.
In all fairness, though, with the Terrence Crawford thing, Terrence Crawford is kind of the showcase fighter of ESPN. That's what Top Rank has said, is that he's the showcase fighter of ESPN. And they put him on the Plus, the app, first, because they wanted him to generate some interest and stuff like that in the app. They wanted people to subscribe to the app, so that's why he got on the app versus regular ESPN.
Right.
All right. So let's talk about across the pond, Beibut Shumanov versus Hisni Altakaya for the vacant WBA regular cruiserweight title. Shumanov defeats Altakaya by TKO. The bout was stopped after the 9th round. And I got to be honest, I don't know how many people really care about this. So not a whole lot there. I didn't see the fight. We just know the outcome and everything like that. I don't even know it was televised. It wasn't televised here. I didn't see it. So I'm sure you can find it on YouTube. But quite honestly, I didn't think to look. So there you go. Shumanov, not one of my favorite fighters. And the guy he was fighting,
he's pretty boring.
Yeah, very much. But he won by knockout. So there you go. And that was the action this week. That action-packed weekend.
Wow.
4th of July weekend, yes.
One card that we were able to really watch all week.
Right, it was terrible.
And again, I consider myself a pretty hardcore boxing fan, and I kept trying to nudge myself to stay awake last night because the fights just weren't that good.
Yeah,
really
it was not good, man. I tell you, and I agree with you. I mean, I don't know how many more cards, and you can say all you want that. Well, the main event was canceled and everything like that. That card was not stellar with the main event.
Well, the main event, yeah, exactly. Like shout out to Danny O'Connor from the mean streets of Framingham, Massachusetts. We love him here. We love him here in Beantown, but it was a tough ask for him to win, for him to get the victory.
Sure.
I didn't think he was. I don't think many people picked him to win that fight.
Uphill battle for him for sure.
Yeah.
And I felt bad representing California. I felt bad for José Ramírez because every time he fights, especially in Fresno, that place is packed.
Yeah.
He puts on a good show, but now I hope that he fulfills his mandatory and gives Regis Prograis his title shot, because that's who his mandatory is, and that's who deserves the fight. So
no, I don't think that's going to happen, and I'll tell you why in here a little bit. Let's go to the upcoming fights here for next week, July 13th. Robert, this is a Friday.
That's Friday.
Friday the 13th. There you go. All right, from Los Angeles on ESPN. Joet Gonzalez versus Rafael Rivera, 10 rounds featherweight. This has got to be a Golden Boy card. This is another one.
That's Golden Boy.
Jesus. Oh, my God. Anyway, that's going to be on it's Golden Boy card. Watch it at your own leisure, July 13th. Let's see here.
Okay.
From Japan, Ryuya Yamanaka versus Vic Saludar, 12 rounds for Yamanaka's WBO strawweight title. And that's going to be one you're going to have to get on YouTube or something like that. Again, there's no TV for it, but I'm sure you'll be able to catch it on YouTube. So there it is. Now, July 14th, Saturday the 14th, from Malaysia on ESPN Plus, Lucas Matthysse versus Manny Pacquiao, 12 rounds for Mathisse's WBA regular welterweight title. The undercard leaves a lot to be desired too. There's three championships, but let's see here. Jack Tapora versus Edivaldo Ortega, 12 rounds for the vacant WBA interim featherweight title. Maridi Matalhane versus Muhammad Wasim, 12 rounds for the vacant IBF flyweight title. And Carlos Canizales versus Bin Liu, 12 rounds for Canizales' WBA regular junior flyweight title. Not exactly a murderer's row there. I can't recommend
any of those.
Not exactly a murderer's row there. Now, from New Orleans on ESPN, Regis Prograis versus Juan Jose Velasco, 12 rounds, junior welterweights. On the undercard of that one, Teofimo Lopez versus William Silva, 10 rounds lightweights. Eric DeLeon versus Mark Bernaldez, 10 rounds, junior lightweights. And that'll be on ESPN. And also in Germany, which not televised, but again, you can catch that on YouTube, I'm sure, or maybe even Box Nation. This might be in Box Nation too. Tyrone Zouge versus Rocky Fielding, 12 rounds for Zouge's WBA regular super middleweight title. So that shouldn't be too bad. All right, let's talk about the big elephant in the room, which is the Manny Pacquiao Lucas Matthysse fight. This is this kind of is what it is, man. Both fighters are, in the twilight of their career. Let's just say that. They're both in the twilight of their career. And with a win, I don't know where either one goes. I'll be honest, because Matthysse has not looked great.
No.
He's not looked great his last few fights. Pacquiao sure hasn't looked great.
But this looks like a who cares fight, kind of loser leaves town kind of thing.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. It's like a loser leave town fight here.
Yep.
Pacquiao and Matthysse. I'm going to take Lucas Matthysse just because he's been a little bit more active. Manny Pacquiao seems to be busy with other stuff. He's dropped Freddie Roach. He's now Booboy. Was it Booboy Fernandez or Booboy Hernandez?
Yeah, he's something like that.
His guy is, his guy that hangs out with him or whatever. He's training him now. Is he really taking it that seriously? Freddie Roach is a big time trainer. Get rid of him. Why would you get rid of him? But I think that my guess, if I had to guess, and I don't know for a fact, but if I had to guess, he probably told him, hey, you probably shouldn't fight anymore. I don't know, but that would be my guess.
According to Freddie Roach, and I know Robert and I read this article about with the situation with Freddie Roach. And after the Horn fight, Freddie Roach looked at Manny Pacquiao and he goes, I've been telling you this for a long time now, Manny. It's you're a senator and you're a fighter. It's hard to juggle two things like that at once. Goes, if you got to pick one. You're either going to be a fighter or you're going to be a senator. And Manny Pacquiao didn't say anything. He didn't even look at Freddie Roach. And then Freddie goes, "Are you mad at me, Manny?" Manny just kind of smiled at him. I think that was kind of the beginning of the end right there. I think that bothered Manny Pacquiao. He felt as though this isn't the time and place to be throwing salt in the wound. I just lost a tough decision to this guy that I thought I won. And, I don't need to be hearing this right now. And I think that was a big part of it. And let's be honest, too, with all due respect to Freddie Roach, I don't know if you guys really been looking at him in the corner lately, but there's times when you watch him and he's just sitting there. He's really not saying much. It's not you could tell that he's not the same Freddie Roach he was 2 or 3 years ago. I mean, I think the Parkinson's is starting to catch up with him. I'm not saying he's not a great boxing mind. I'm not saying he doesn't know what's going on. I'm not saying that he doesn't have a good eye for the sport. But at the end of the day, some of these recent fights he's been in on television, you look at him in the corner and he's just basically really not talking much, not really giving that many instructions. And, I think that he's just slowing down. And the thing about Parkinson's too is it has, times when it's worse than others. And a lot of people say that Parkinson's is worse late at night and early in the morning. And it's pretty good in the middle of the day. When once you wake up, you start going. And a lot of these fights are late at night. So maybe it's time when his Parkinson's is really at its worst and he can't really do the things he wants to do in the corner. So I don't know. That's just my opinion.
He says you can either be a congressman or a fighter, and he says this after the Jeff Horn fight. But in all fairness, he should have walked right through Jeff Horn. That should not have been a competitive fight.
No.
I mean, you think about it, and you think about a prime Manny Pacquiao versus a prime Jeff Horn. I mean, that's not even competitive. That's a walk in the park. That's a knockout within 6. He doesn't even get close to Pacquiao.
Yeah.
He knows. I mean, he knows the right. He saw the writing on the wall.
Oh yeah.
He knows. He said the same thing about De La Hoya before the Pacquiao fight. Is he can't pull the trigger. And he's right.
Yeah. No.
He's right.
The article I read today pointed out he hasn't officially knocked anybody out in 9 years. 2009 was the last time he actually knocked somebody out. He's been happy with getting TKOs or going the distance.
Well, TKO is kind of the same as a knockout.
Think
and I'm gonna say something that maybe kind of, I don't know, people may think that I'm being a little harsh here, and maybe I'm being unempathetic here, but so many times we see these trainers stick with these guys because they're such big names and they're able to get big paydays, and they ride out the wave, so to speak. And there's been times when trainers know they're sending a shot fighter out there, but they're doing it anyways because of the paycheck. Look at when Freddie Roach was training Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., and he was allowing Chavez Jr. to not show up to training sessions, and Chavez Jr. was practically training by himself for the fight that Freddie Roach was with them, and he was in his underwear eating cereal in his hotel room, shadow boxing, and that was his training regimen. And Freddie Roach stayed on. It's like Emmanuel Stewart would have walked out of a situation like that. Robert Garcia would have walked out of a situation like that, but Freddie Roach stayed, and he collected that paycheck. So I feel bad for Freddie Roach. I don't think he deserved to be treated the way Manny Pacquiao treated him. But you know what, Freddie? The writing's been on the wall for a while, and after the Mayweather fight, you should have been told Manny Pacquiao to retire, and you didn't. So now it's you want to say it now after the fact when he loses to a Jeff Horn, but you should have said it after the Mayweather fight, because that I think that would have been a fair assessment to make that statement at that particular time, in my opinion.
I don't know. I mean, who did he fight? Who did he fight after? I can't remember who did he fight after Mayweather?
Wasn't it? What was his name? Jesse Vargas.
Vargas. Okay, yeah. I mean, leading into that Mayweather fight, you could tell he wasn't the same guy, and after the Mayweather fight, you could tell he wasn't the same guy. Who did he fight? He fought Vargas, and then he fought. Did he fight Bradley again after that, or was that beforehand?
Yeah, he fought Bradley again after that in I think it was 2016. Then he fought Vargas, but I forget what order I think he fought Bradley and then Vargas.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And then Rios was in there too. But exactly. Jason's in the chat going crazy because we mentioned Mayweather's name, and he's got a big crush on Mayweather.
Of course, yeah. Of course. Well, he's an Al Heyman guy. What do you expect?
There you go. But yeah, man, I think that as far as this fight goes, man, I'm gonna lean toward Matthysse. I'm gonna pick Matthysse in this fight. I don't know. I don't think he knocks Pacquiao out. I don't know what he does. I don't know if he knocks him out. I mean, he's not looking too hot either. Maybe he wins.
No.
I think he wins. But yeah, I think that's where it goes. Beeb, what about you? How does this fight go down?
Well, I'll say this. Manny Pacquiao has always been one of those in and out ambush fighters. And he likes to go on the attack. And when he goes on the attack, he's usually in the mid-range area. He's not a guy that fights on the outside. He's not a guy that fights up close, deep in the pocket. Not a really good inside fighter. It doesn't really fight on the inside at all. Matthysse is another mid-range guy. But, he's not a guy that is quick on his feet. Manny Pacquiao does have the foot speed advantage. So the big question is, has that foot speed slowed down enough where when Manny Pacquiao's darted in and spending some time on the inside of the pocket, can Lucas Matthysse take advantage of that? Because both these guys are mid-range guys, and if you noticed when Danny Garcia fought Matthysse, he boxed him very well on the outside. And that's how he won the fight. But Manny Pacquiao is not going to have that same style. So when Manny Pacquiao is going to be attacking, he's going to be in Lucas Matthysse' wheelhouse, basically. So did Manny Pacquiao slow down just enough where Lucas Matthysse can catch up with him? Or is Lucas Matthysse slowing down at an even worse pace than Manny Pacquiao has? I'm gonna lean towards Manny Pacquiao on this one. I think that he may have enough foot speed to be able to get in and out on Matthysse, and he definitely has the quicker hands. I'm going to lean towards Manny Pacquiao on this one.
Beeb, was this a 50-50 fight?
On paper, yeah.
Yeah.
Most definitely is.
Robert,
maybe
what about you?
Maybe 55-40, maybe 55-45 Pacquiao.
Yeah.
Well, looking at both of these guys, I haven't been impressed with either one. And Beeb, I highly respect your opinion because you're normally pretty spot on with these things. But I think it's time to send the Filipino senator or congressman, whatever the hell he is, a stern message. I'm picking Lucas the Machine Matthysse to put Manny Pacquiao out of the sport.
Oh,
out of the sport?
Oh,
an I quit match. It's an I quit match.
You're so hateful. Oh, that's terrible. Oh, what's the matter with you? Out of the sport. Jesus. Guy's got a family. What's the matter with you? Oh, man. Yeah, I think so. My guess would be I don't, again, man, I just don't know how much he has left. I don't know how much either guy has left. That's what makes it so intriguing.
Well, that's the thing. This isn't a prime Lucas Matthysse either.
Right. Yeah.
No, exactly. The point being, should this fight be taking place at all? Because what does the winner receive other than a secondary title? What is the game plan afterwards here?
Well, in fairness, in all fairness, this is not a significant matchup. It's for a WBA regular title, whatever that's worth. So, at the end of the day, as I've said before, when you put two guys in the ring that are faded, but they're pretty much on the same level because they pretty much faded to the same, point in their career, right? Then both these guys are offensive fighters. They're aggressive. They throw punches. They like to go on the attack. So style-wise, and because of where both of these guys are at in their career, it's not like one guy's badly faded and one guy's just a little bit out of his prime. Both these guys are pretty far gone along to their primes and the best they've been. So because of those things, this could shape up to be an interesting fight based on the two styles and based off of where both guys are in their careers. So we may get an entertaining fight next week, guys, regardless of both these guys being out of their prime and regardless of this fight really not meaning anything in the grand scheme of things in the welterweight division.
You know, you said, what is the WBA regular title worth? That makes him the mandatory. Whoever wins this fight, mandatory for Keith Thurman. Good luck collecting.
Correct. Yeah. Well, I guess it's worth something then, huh?
Good luck collecting on that one, you know.
Yeah.
It's a good stepping stone, but it in itself's not nothing really. Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, Amir Khan says he wants Manny Pacquiao if Manny Pacquiao wins. He called him out, so.
Yeah, that's a barn burner right there, huh?
Right.
Jeez. Now, are you more likely or less likely to purchase ESPN Plus now for this fight?
Oh, I'll purchase it for the fight because it's Manny Pacquiao.
Yeah. Yeah.
Manny Pacquiao.
I caved and I got ESPN Plus because I'm a weenie and that's the way.
Well,
it's a good service.
I was thinking of you yesterday when I was watching the commercial for the app and how they put Manny, how they were advertising Manny Pacquiao for the app and everything. I was thinking of you and I was like, maybe Eric made a good purchase. You know,
I watch it for the soccer and everything like that. They have all the soccer games on there, and they have the MLS, they have the FC Cincinnati games on there, and everything like that. And they have other, they got a lot of stuff on there. I mean, it seems like there's always at least something to watch on there.
You know what's weird? They say if you buy it for the whole year in advance, it works out to be like $4.16 a month. So like they're only giving you like 80-something cents discount a month. It's like they couldn't like make it an even $4.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like so stupid. Like why not just make it $48 if people pay up front? Just give them a whole dollar off.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Really? I mean, at least give
like couldn't you round it off to $1? Like it's like 86. They give you 86 cents discount a month if you pay ahead for the year. It's like Jesus, guys, you couldn't give me a whole dollar? Really? It's like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, exactly, man. It's crazy.
Someone in the chat just low blow champ just said free trial again. I was thinking that too. I was trying to see if I get a free trial again.
Yeah,
call myself Mr. Rex or something. Email Mr. Rex at AOL.com or something. See if I can get a free one.
That's right. Another free trial. That's it.
Free trial, right?
We can work that angle. We can work that angle for a long time.
We gotta put Robbie's name in.
That's right. Nobody's running it. Robert, what about you? You buying ESPN Plus?
Nope.
Oh, wow. That's cold-blooded, man. Not even for Pacquiao-Matthysse, huh?
That's funny.
Nope.
Oh, man. See, I would buy it just for that undercard of Manny for Pacquiao-Matthysse.
Oh, my God. Really?
No. Insane. All right, Beeb, it's time.
Brianna, train wreck of the week time. All right, you ready?
Chugga, choo-choo.
Oh, that was nice. That was very good.
Beautiful.
Very good.
Beautiful. Tycho train.
Much better than when Beeb does it, I'll tell you that. A lot better. This makes me want to go forward with the show as opposed to just shutting it down when Beeb does it. All right. Train wreck of the week this week, the Triple G and Canelo press conference. So let's understand this now. Triple G and Canelo had a press conference this week. Both fighters were available via satellite because they hate each other so much they don't want to be face-to-face. That's the rumor going around. They don't want to be face-to-face until fight week. They don't like each other. There's a ton of animosity, a ton of bad blood between these two fighters. So this was going to be a much anticipated press conference, and both fighters completely laid an egg. This was complete garbage. Neither fighter did anything to hype the fight. Listen, and I've said it for a long time, and Beeb, you can back me up on this. I'm not really particularly interested in this rematch.
Oh, you said that, yeah. You said that.
And I was actually looking forward to the press conference to create some kind of hype and interest. This was horrible. I mean, this was really, really bad. I understand it's going to be a sellout. I understand people are going to watch it, but you're trying to hype something up here. You want more pay-per-view buys in the first go round. You want to make more money than the first go round. You're going to have to hype this up. This is why, we talk about Mayweather on here, and we talk, everybody says, well, he made all this money. How come I can't make that money? Because he did this. He hyped fights up, Every time you saw him, he was in the opponent's face. He was trash talking. He was doing something to hype the fight. He was doing some kind of media. These two guys sat there, and it was more exciting watching trees grow. So
how corny was it? Excuse me for interrupting you. How corny was it that these guys could not be in the same room together?
Come on,
how
guys.
corny is that?
Listen, if there's that much bad blood, then this press conference, they should have been at each other's throats. They should have given me a reason to think, why are they apart?
All of these quotes, all the negative back and forth, all of the insults back and forth. And then when they weren't even in the same room together, and they were being asked questions about each other. Oh, right. well, that doesn't matter right now. Yeah. Really, it doesn't matter right now. So you're not mad about it? All of a sudden, Triple G, you're not mad about the drug test, but before you were fuming about it, you got over. Maybe the money kind of eased the pain for both guys. But Canelo, you can see Canelo. The guy that was moderating, he was kind of goofy and corny, but I give him credit for asking tough questions. At least he was like, being critical of Canelo. He challenged Canelo on a few things, and Canelo just really didn't answer anything. Like both guys were just like, well, none of that matters now. We're gonna fight, and that's all that matters. It's like they answered the same way to every controversial question. It's like, come on, give us something at least.
And De La Hoya has been out this week saying, "Oh yeah, Canelo hates Triple G. He can't wait to get in there and finish."
They're acting like at that press conference.
Yeah, they're acting like just old acquaintances there. I mean, I don't see that. You remember Mike Tyson and Lennox Lewis when they fought the lead up to that? They got in a fight at the press conference.
Oh God, yes.
They separated them. Even in the ring, they separated them before the bell rang. They had these guys in the same town. When they got up in the morning to run, they would have to give each other the routes so they didn't run into each other. They had their schedules and itineraries, so they didn't run into each other around town. That's bad blood. That's what I want to see. I mean, if you're talking about a rematch or something like this where there's supposedly all this bad blood, that's what we want to see. This is what we want to hear. This is nonsense. This generated zero interest in this fight, and I'll be honest, I'm already not that interested in this fight. I'd rather see Triple G move on and fight somebody else. I'd rather see Canelo fight somebody else and go their separate ways. We all know, we saw who won the first fight. It was pretty clear. So they decided to have a rematch. For what? I don't know, but whatever. You go forward with the rematch and you get nothing. I mean, it's almost like they just, almost like it's just a foregone conclusion that this is going to sell 5 billion pay-per-views or whatever. The stadium's going to be packed, whatever the case may be. I don't even need to work for it. That's what they're acting like. I don't even need to work for this.
Well, here's a couple of positives. I think we're going to see a knockout this time, and I think Golovkin's going to knock him out. But also, they don't have to worry about Mayweather-McGregor this time. So this fight could do a lot better than the first one did, and obviously the storyline and the bad blood. But here's a couple of things that people aren't looking at right now. Canelo looks a lot smaller. I know people have said that. That's number one.
Yeah.
So you could read into this is another thing that people don't realize as well. You could read into the whole drug thing, but Canelo's also been under a lot of mental stress. And when you're under a lot of mental stress, you're releasing a lot of cortisol, and it's hard to really, be fit when you're releasing a lot of cortisol because you look smaller, softer. It's hard to, build a muscular body when you're under stress like that. A lot of nervous energy. He's got the weight of the world on his shoulders because of because of the controversy. Because there's so much pressure on him to prove that, hey, I wasn't on drugs the first time, and this is how I really am the second time. So right off the bat, physical wise, he doesn't look the same. He looks smaller. And another thing, he's been off a year. And also, one thing that no one's even mentioned is that knee operation. How severe was that knee operation? Because a lot of times when we saw the situation with Sergio Martinez after he blew out his knees. Okay, and then he got the operations to repair him, whatever. And he had knee braces in training camps. Canelo Alvarez is training with knee brace now. And that question came up at the press conference. So I think this is a great fight if you want to see a conclusive ending and you want this to really you know, have the book be slammed on the chapter of this book, then this is going to be a good fight for that. I think Golovkin's going to knock him out.
I don't know, man. Robert, what were your thoughts on this, on the press conference and everything that goes along with it?
Well, I'm disappointed with the fact that they didn't really conduct themselves properly in a press conference. You have to appear on satellites instead of appearing in the same room. I mean, come on. I remember the Lennox Lewis, Mike Tyson press conferences. I remember, other big fights, like when Hagler and Leonard fought. They had to separate those two. Remember that?
Yeah.
And Leonard and Hearns and things like. I mean, come on. This is. It's the 21st century. You got to have your press conferences by Skype or satellite. Really? I mean, come on. That whole thing, that didn't make sense to me. But I agree with Beeb. I think this time, no matter who wins, and I do think Triple G will win. I do think he'll knock him out. But there's no way this fight goes 12 rounds, especially in Las Vegas. Because we don't know who the referee is going to be, and we don't know who the three judges are going to be, and you don't want to leave this fight in anybody's hands except for the two people in the ring. And whether Canelo knocks Triple G out or Triple G knocks Canelo out, I think we're going to have a decisive winner, and hopefully it closes the book on Canelo and Triple G. I want to see Triple G knock him out because there are two fighters that deserve shots at his titles, Charlo and Jacobs. Jacobs deserves a rematch, and Charlo deserves a fight. So that's how I look at it.
Let me
go ahead. I'm sorry, Beeb. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry, Eric. Let me just say this, because I hear a lot of people saying, well, if it goes to the cards, Canelo's going to automatically win. Here's two things now. The Nevada State Athletic Commission was under a lot of scrutiny last time for what happened. They were under a lot of criticism. Adelaide Bird, her picture was like everywhere. Like she was being made fun of. She was like on every website's headline. They were having memes about her. I just don't think, number one, they want that to happen again. They don't want to have that cloud hanging over them again for a second time. And here's number two. Because De La Hoya used to have that stigma. He got that decision over Pernell Whitaker that people thought he lost. He got that decision over Ike Corte that could have gone either way, and people possibly thought he lost that fight. But then as time went on, it starts to work against you now. Because no one wants to be that person that's going to be criticized at the end of the fight. Hey, you just gave it to the house fighter. You're in the bag for this guy. You're in the bag for that guy. So if you noticed, against Trinidad, he didn't get that same favorable treatment with the judges. And against who else was the other fight they had? Shane Mosley, the rematch. A lot of people thought he won the rematch, and Shane Mosley got that one. So it kind of works against you because, for so long, guys will get that favorable treatment, and then there'll be a stigma placed upon them. And then no one wants to be that judge anymore. No one wants to be that commission anymore that is part of that controversy. So now it's almost like in basketball, a ref makes a bad call. Everyone's booing him, looking at him. The other officials are like, oh, what did you do that for? So then he almost has to make a makeup call to kind of compensate for that bad call he made. I think the same thing is going to happen. Honestly, if rounds are close, people are going to go out of their way to give him the Golovkin now to right that wrong that happens, last year. That's just my opinion. There's only so many times you can play that. You can go to the well, with the favorable scorecards, and it's going to always be in your favor. Sometimes it goes the other way, it goes against you. So that's just how I see it. I don't think there's going to be shady scorecards this time.
Interesting. Yeah, especially after last time. You think about.
You
think they're going to have.
The world's going to be looking at the commission this time. They don't want to be embarrassed again.
Vegas doesn't want another screw up. They don't.
I mean, yeah.
I don't know, man.
That post-fight press conference after the first fight, oh my God. What an embarrassment that was for the commission.
Yeah, absolutely. And wasn't it with Montero, right? They called him out.
Shout out, exactly. Yeah, shout out to Michael Montero. Shout out to Michael Montero because he grilled the fuck out of him. Good for him.
Yeah.
Good for him.
That's right. And that's what he should have done. That's what one of them should have done. And it was good that he stepped up to do it. You know, I mean, you kind of wonder, would anybody else have done that? I don't think so.
Here's another thing on a sidebar. Canelo Alvarez is not the Ring Magazine middleweight champion anymore.
I heard.
I went on the
G, right?
I think he was the pound for pound champion. They gave him a pound for pound champion, but actually the Ring Magazine belt I think at middleweight was vacant last time I checked. So I think people do listen to what the fans say, and people do go on Twitter, people do go on YouTube, and you know. It's been known that the whole ratings committee did not want to do that. They wanted Canelo stripped, and you know, originally it didn't happen, but now because of the pressure, they stripped him. So that's what I'm saying. I think people are getting sick of all the BS surrounding Canelo when it comes to judges, when it comes to favorable treatment, hand wraps, and all that other stuff. I think people are getting sick of it. So I think all these things come to an end at some point. I think the Canelo train has run its course, and he's going to have to win these fights based on him actually winning them and not getting these, gift scorecards.
Right. Yeah, I mean, and you hit it on the head with De La Hoya too, because De La Hoya was one of those guys that were winning, like you said, against Ike Corte, Pernell Whitaker, and all of a sudden he was starting to get that reputation, like, hey, you're never going to beat him, I've heard this number of times. You're not going to beat De La Hoya by decision in Vegas, and so that's the thing, man. All right, let's move ahead here, and then we're going to go to the phones here. Anthony Joshua's next two fights are set at Wembley. The first fight will be on September 22nd, and that will most likely be against Alexander Povetkin. That fight should be announced by next week. The second fight will take place April 13th, and Eddie Hearn has stated that he wants the fight to be against Deontay Wilder because they said two blockbuster fights, the first one against Povetkin, the second one against Wilder. That being said, they've said they wanted Deontay Wilder before, and we know how that turned out.
Yeah.
So he signed a 2-fight deal at Wembley Stadium, which I know he can fill up. I mean, it's and even with Povetkin, it doesn't matter who you put across from AJ, he's going to fill that thing up. But
yep.
Beeb, what are your thoughts on this? What are your thoughts on the Wilder thing? I mean, what are the 2-fight deal that is going on here?
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm very, very optimistic that the Wilder fight does happen on April 13th. And at the end of the day, I'm not going to even really get into the back and forth anymore. Whose fault it is, because I think the fight's going to happen April 13th. And at the end of the day, the offer started at 12.5. It went up to 15 million. And I suspect strongly that this next offer is going to even be better than that 15. So it's actually better for Wilder to stick to his guns and not just sign anything, because Eddie Hearn has shown a history of giving in when it comes to Deontay Wilder. He already increased the offer once. I think he'll increase it again. So I think he knows what he's up against here. I think he's heard a lot of negative backlash. And I think he realizes now that this fight has to happen. I think because of what the fans have said about him. And I think it's starting to get to Joshua. I think it's starting to get to Eddie Hearn. And, you can criticize both sides. You can say whatever you want about both sides. But at the end of the day, Eddie Hearn is improving offers. So that just goes to show you that whatever Deontay Wilder is doing in terms of, speaking out and saying things, I think a lot of people are starting to get behind Deontay Wilder. And I think Deontay Wilder, as time goes on, his profile is increasing, the longer they put this thing off. So at the end of the day, I think the April 13th fight will come off with Deontay Wilder, and I think the offer will be improved from the $15 million. And still could be a flat rate, but maybe it turns out to be a guarantee of 18 or 20 this time. So he started at 12.5, and he goes up to 18. You know, he's making out on the deal. So I just think the fight will happen. I think they'll get it done.
Robert, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, I'll be glad when contracts are officially signed. You know, as I've told you previously off air, I'd rather talk about fights that are going to happen instead of talking about a fight that's not even signed yet. And most people are probably correct that Joshua will get by Povetkin, but I don't think it will be easy. So I don't think you should count your Wilder chickens before Joshua can officially beat Povetkin, because as we learned in the Klitschko fight, Vladimir Klitschko took Joshua places that Joshua had never been. Well, Alexander Povetkin, even though we may not like the whole drug testing thing that he went through and failed tests and whatnot, he's got a lot more experience than Joshua, and he may be able to take Joshua places that, you know, Joshua hasn't been before. So I don't think that Joshua should look past Alexander Povetkin and count on Wilder. I think if he's going to fight Povetkin first, he's got to put all of his concentration into worrying about Povetkin, and don't worry about Wilder until after that fight is over with. Now, Wilder, on the other hand, if this is the route Joshua is going to go, Wilder, on the other hand, needs to find somebody to fight to stay active. I don't think it'd be a good idea for him to fight, he fought, I think, what was it, in November or whatever it was?
March, I thought. He fought Ortiz in March.
He fought the Cuban, and Ortiz. I can't remember his name to save my life.
Luis Ortiz.
I think he needs Ortiz, that's right. I think he needs to find somebody to fight in the meantime, because I think both of these guys have got to stay active, because you know, you don't want anybody walking into the ring next April with any kind of ring rust. So, but especially in Joshua's case, he cannot look past Alexander Povetkin. Now, I don't know who Wilder will fight. I guess his number one mandatory is Brazil. If he fights Brazil, I think he'll get by him with no problem. But, you know, they got to stay active. I don't want to see any ring rust come next April. That's my concern.
Here's the thing, though. If that Anthony Joshua that showed up against Carlos Takam and Joseph Parker shows up against Alexander Povetkin, it could be a tough one. It could be a tough one. And I'll tell you this. He can try to be tentative like he was against Joseph Parker, or he can stay in the pocket like he did against Carlos Takam. He does either one of those things against Alexander Povetkin. And Alexander Povetkin, being the experienced fighter that he is, and the more aggressive fighter than those two guys are, he's going to have some problems. He's going to really, really have problems. And I'm going to tell you this. Joseph Parker didn't look great in a lot of his fights. He didn't look good against Carlos Takam. He didn't look good against Yuki Fury. He didn't look good against Andy Ruiz. He didn't look great at all in any of those fights. And in the toughest fight of his life, he actually did better against Joshua than he did against guys who you would think to be lesser of Joshua. A lot of people scored that fight 115, 113 for Joshua. I had it 116, 112. Could have easily been 115, 113. Some people had it a draw. Some people even had Parker winning. So that fight was closer than a lot of us thought. And even against Takam, Joshua looked sloppy. So Joshua is going to be in there again with a tough guy. So the problem is Eddie Hearn's bragging about, we're putting him in tough. We're putting him in tough. Yeah, but you're also taking years off of his career, because he's he's going to be going in there with a guy like Povetkin, who's going to win, lose, or draw. It's going to be a grueling fight. Whereas Deontay Wilder is going to possibly fight Dominic Brazil. I think he'd blow Brazil out of there in 3 or 4 rounds. So he'll be more fresh going into a fight with Joshua, because Joshua is gonna be in a dogfight one way or the other. I don't think it's gonna be an easy fight, win, lose, or draw. It's gonna be a dogfight. So it's just a bad situation, I think. And as I said, the more time that goes on, the stronger Deontay Wilder's position gets, because again, he's gonna get another increased offer, without question. And even Eddie Hearn has admitted, yeah, this guy has increased his profile greatly in the last 4 months. And he admitted what Deontay Wilder's doing is working. Yeah, probably this was a PR stunt. He's saying all this thing for PR, blah, blah. And Eddie Hearn goes, and it's working. So what's that tell you? I mean, this guy is showing that he is popular. He is growing. And this fight is big. Because at the end of the fight against Alexander Povetkin, if Anthony Joshua does manage to win, first question is going to be, when are you fighting Deontay Wilder? So we'll see what happens. But I think the fight will happen April 13th, and I think Deontay Wilder will get a better offer than he got last time.
Yeah. I have to disagree, though. I think that, Joshua fighting guys like Povetkin, fighting guys like Klitschko, fighting guys like, like the Takam fight, the Joseph Parker fight, I think those are better fights because, again, you're talking about a guy who has, half of the fights that, or roughly half of the fights that Wilder has, but Wilder hasn't fought anywhere near the competition. And you take a look at both fighters stylistically, all things being equal, I would say that Joshua has more ways to win. Joshua could definitely outbox him, and he's getting more experience with guys like Povetkin, bigger names like that, while Wilder's stuck fighting guys like, Ortiz was the biggest name on his, but Stavern, you got guys like Stavern, Brazil. In Brazil, I'm not sure that he was, the fighter that he was when he fought Joshua. I think that was a good fight for Joshua. It was a good come-up fight. You knew he was going to win it. But now, I mean, there's no way that Brazil, I don't believe, gets past
But let's be fair here. Can we say overall that the division's really not that strong anyways?
No,
it really isn't. No, I mean, we can look at Joseph Parker. Who has he beat? Who has he really looked good against? Doing it. We can look at Dillian White. His greatest claim to fame is getting knocked out by Anthony Joshua. So you're 100% correct. But again, Anthony Joshua has collected the belts. He's unified. Okay, yeah. Fought Charles Martin for the first one, and the second one was a vacant title against a guy that was off for 2 years. How does a guy that's off for 2 years find himself fighting for like why did that fight? Let's just say this: they were very lucky that the WBA title was thrown in there because it really didn't have to be.
Right?
Why is that? Why Anthony Joshua fighting a guy coming off a bad loss and who's coming off a 2-year layoff? How do they justify making that for the vacant WBA title? And the argument could be, Klitschko's what he's done and his repitation.
Nah,
okay, I understand.
Buy that either. Yeah, I don't buy that either.
I don't buy that because think about it. The IBF he beat Charles Martin. Deontay Wilder would have folded Charles Martin up too.
Right.
And then Klitschko was for a vacant WBA. One of those titles was for a vacant title. All right. So you're right. I will say that you could argue that it is impressive that what Anthony Joshua has accomplished in less time. Yeah. But I'm going to hold firm on my opinion that if you take Klitschko out of there, the resumes are similar. They're not that far apart.
Yeah.
They're not, in my opinion, they're not that far apart. Okay. You could probably say, yeah, Joshua, from a name standpoint, has more accomplished fighters on his record,
right,
than Deontay Wilder does. That's a fair statement. But make no mistake about it, I would pick Deontay Wilder to beat anyone on Joshua's resume, and I would think he would do it handily.
I don't know.
My opinion.
Yeah.
My opinion.
Yeah, absolutely.
My opinion.
Absolutely. Yeah, I don't know. I have to think about that. Now, could he beat anybody on the resume? I don't know. Could he beat the Klitschko that night? Man, I don't know. I'm not 100% sure he beats Klitschko that night. But I don't know. It's not really something we can go back and say, hey, yes, he would have, or no, he wouldn't have. We don't know. They didn't fight. But
No, I mean that's a strong argument. But here's the problem with Joshua. He doesn't fight well on the outside. Klitschko was beating him from the outside. Parker was having success with him from the outside. And he's pretty good. He's okay. He's a good offensive fighter on the inside, but he's very vulnerable inside. He takes a lot of shots. So this is the thing. Like, Deontay Wilder has much quicker feet than Anthony Joshua, in my opinion. And he's a much better fighter from the outside. He's more dangerous from the outside. Whereas Anthony Joshua needs to move forward, needs to get pretty close in that mid-range area to land those uppercuts and that hook. I think that because Anthony Joshua is so lazy with that jab, how he just leaves it out there, and he gets hit with right hands a lot. And I think style-wise, I think Deontay Wilder presents a lot of problems because of how he could throw that right hand from halfway across the ring and land it with power. Like he grazes guys and knocks them down. He's got freakish power with that right hand. You know?
He does. And I mean, yeah, I mean, you talk about like you know, style-wise and everything, it's a different animal. Could he, you know, is he a bad matchup for Joshua? Yeah, that could be. I mean, because Joshua does get hit with right hands. That's a pretty big deal when you're fighting a guy that has a big right hand.
Has the best right hand in the business.
Right.
And here's another problem too. You made an excellent statement, by the way. He's got a lot of ways to win, if you look at that from a technical standpoint. But the thing about it is, you could pretty much, I know it's easier said than done, but if you scout Anthony Joshua, you could figure him out. Like this is his style. Whereas you really can't. How do you prepare for a guy like Deontay Wilder? The guy is just so unpredictable. He does everything in an unorthodox way. So it's easier to prepare for a guy who is more prototypical and more technical. How do you find a sparring partner to emulate Deontay Wilder? You can find a lot of sparring partners, may not be as good as Joshua, but they can pretty much emulate that style. What style can you get that's going to fight like Deontay Wilder if you're trying to prepare for someone like Deontay Wilder in camp?
Yeah,
it's the fear of the unpredictability with Deontay Wilder. That's what everyone's afraid of.
Yeah, I'll tell you. Jason's in the chat. He says that Wilder only has 20 amateur fights. I don't know that that's accurate. I don't know how that could be.
Well,
accurate.
I know he doesn't have a whole lot.
He doesn't have a whole lot, but he can't
have a whole lot of.
I thought he had 40, but I don't know.
He was in the Olympics. You have more fights than that going to the Olympics. You know what I mean? I don't think that's accurate at all.
Yeah.
Now I know he doesn't have a whole lot. I know other fighters have more, but yeah, I don't think that's the case. Speaking of which, maybe not. Maybe not.
There it is.
He's a fucking mental case, is what he is.
Oh, why do you do that every time he comes?
Wilder had like I was off by a little bit. Wilder had like 30 plus, like 35 fights, but that's still not a lot. I don't know how many AJ does.
No, that's not a whole.
No, it's not a whole lot.
No.
How many did AJ have? Do you guys know?
No, I don't know offhand.
No, not off the top of my head, but I know he.
My
didn't
guess
he
is he
win a
didn't
medal
have
in
much.
the London Olympics?
Yeah, he won the medal.
Yeah, he won the gold, but they said he got handed that medal. He had 43 fights. So I guess around 10 more fights or whatever. Yeah.
Big advantage Wilder has over Joshua. He has more PBC fights, baby.
But Beeb made some great points today, and Eric, you've been your head's up your ass as usual.
Is that right?
And Robbie, you should put yourself on mute since you hate my call so fucking much. I don't even know why you talked about my call, you asshole.
Wow.
Whoa.
I had to let Eric, because he always waits till I hang up to talk shit. You know, I mean, he hates my call so much. He should just put himself on mute when I call. But yeah, I was gonna say, man, when PBC doesn't have a good Showtime event, the weekend is fucking shitty. Like the past 2 weekends, the ESPN events have been so fucking lackluster. My weekends have been kind of boring because boxing is like boxing always tops off the weekend for me. Without boxing, it's kind of incomplete. So
yeah, Showtime doesn't have another card till next Friday, the 20th.
Next Friday? Who's on next Friday?
It's a showbox card, and then the 28th is Mikey Garcia and Robert Easter.
They got Luis Ortiz and Lipinus fighting on that undercard. They just finalized that, I guess. Both on bum bashes, but they're showcase fights. They're both coming off losses, so I guess they deserve them. Beeb's been making some good points about PBC, man. I mean, you know, people used to criticize about PBC giving ESPN shitty fights. That's why they got kicked off and shit. But Top Rank did it a better way, like how they went about getting their deal. They hired like a really high-powered PR firm and agency in Hollywood. They hired like IMG or somebody, and they worked the whole deal with ESPN. That's what Al Heyman should have done. He didn't do that. He went directly and paid it himself, you know. He didn't really hire those.
That was kind of silly using his own. Yeah, I mean,
shit,
that was kind of silly using his own money like that. I mean, to buy time off ESPN, who usually pays for time, right?
Yeah.
But that was Heyman's genius. I don't think he got enough credit. Who the fuck has ever in boxing been able to go to Wall Street and gotten those people to invest $800 million into a piece of shit sport like boxing? Like, who else can do that? And Heyman got hit for that. They were like, "Oh, he's stealing money from investors." I mean, people on Wall Street lose billions of dollars every fucking day in bad investments. So I mean, they were acting like Heyman's some fucking unique guy that duped these investors into a bad investment. They invest in bad things every fucking day. Like billions of dollars go down the drain on Wall Street. So I thought that was a huge achievement by him by going to Wall Street and picking up so much fucking cash at one time. To give us all these networks now, because nobody else is going to be able to do that.
Yeah, but no network carries him anymore.
That's his Harvard business background.
That no network carries him anymore? He's on Showtime now. That's it.
So what? We got a lot of good fights out of him. I don't give a fuck. I'm still getting good fights out of him on Showtime. I mean, I'm not going to cry about it.
No, but you're sitting there riding
about it.
You're sitting there riding him like Seabiscuit, and you're talking about what a great mind he is and everything like that, and he goes bounced off every network.
Yeah, so what? He is a great mind. Who else can go to Wall Street and pick up $800 million in one fucking swoop? Who else can do that, Eric? Can you do that?
Anybody with credit.
I don't think so.
You shut up, son.
I don't think you could do that.
Get to your point.
You are fucking.
No, I think if we liquidate Beeb Industries, we may be able to come up with some serious cake.
What'd you say?
So I think if we liquidate Beeb Industries, we can come up with some serious cake.
Oh, for sure.
Beeb could. I think if we liquidate Beeb Industries, I think we could come up with some serious cake.
I don't even know that you need to liquidate it.
Shit, Eddie Hearn's got $1 billion. He can't even sign Mikey Garcia and fucking Broner.
Yeah, he's got $250 million with an optional friggin'
$1 million deal with Floyd Mayweather. TMT, right?
That's news. That's like bipolar musings by Broner. It's like a bipolar episode. That's fake news.
Yeah, nobody's confirmed that. Eric, come on, get out of here.
Even Spence and Thurman are not worth $50 million for 5 fights. Their fights don't generate that much money. Those numbers don't make any sense. I wouldn't even give Spence that kind of deal. Hell no.
He suffers from bipolar disorder. He's messed up, man.
Because 2 days ago he said 2 days before that he said I'm going to jump Floyd. So he put that out there to make up for Floyd, to let Floyd know that he was just joking. You know, like that's what that was.
That guy's an airhead, son.
Also, yeah, Beeb. Without Lara versus Hurd, Leo versus Mares, and Wilder versus Ortiz, 2018 would have been trash, right? Who else has really put on besides Loma and Lawrence was a really good one.
I'm with you. They put on the best fights this year. They put on the best fights. I'm with you. I really am. I'm not going to argue. I'm not going to argue.
Beeb, don't minimize them like that. Not just this year. Even last year they put on the best fights, and even before that they had really good fights.
I can't even remember what I ate for breakfast yesterday. You're asking me to think about last year, please.
Well,
PBC dominated 2017.
If you compare Showtime and HBO, Showtime is royally kicking their ass.
Nah, Showtime. You can compare Showtime to every fucking network in the world. Sky Sports, ESPN, everything. Not just HBO. Let's be honest here.
Because
everybody.
If you look at HBO's boxing schedule, they haven't had anything since May the 12th.
Canelo's keeping them afloat. Without Canelo, they'd be totally dead. And also, Eric, you're so fucking wrong about that. That rumor is that Canelo and GGG hate each other. That's not a rumor. That's a fake story spread out by Steve Kim and Dougie Fisher that work for Golden Boy. The fucking real story is Canelo, the fucking coward, doesn't want to be questioned about using dope by media. That's why he doesn't want to stand in front of the media where there's 20 media members asking questions.
Really?
So don't be a dumbass and repeat talking points from media members and act like they hate each other, so they don't want to do a press conference. They don't want to do a press conference because they don't want the sound bites on YouTube of him getting exposed by reporters. That's what they don't want.
Right?
Am I right, Beeb?
No, you're not, because the reporters asked him about it. Stupid. Did you see the press conference?
Shut up, Eric. You're wrong. Am I right,
moron,
Beeb?
son.
I think you're partially right. But the thing is he did do a press conference. But I agree. I do agree with you, Jason. They're going to do as little media as possible with him because he does not want to be grilled. I agree with that. I'm going to agree.
He doesn't want to be what?
Yeah, they're sitting in a fucking secluded
He doesn't want to talk about the drug test stuff. He doesn't want to talk about the. That's why they're limiting the press conferences, and they're limiting a lot of the limiting how accessible he is to the press now. I mean, he did that one press conference. I don't think you're going to see much of him.
No.
That's why I don't think he wants to talk about the drug test.
You clown.
You're a clown, son.
I agree. I'm going to agree with you, Jason.
I mean, I don't blame them. That's a good PR strategy. I mean, I'm sure Bob Aaron would have probably done it differently, but he would have probably just done it at a nicer place, not in a piece of shit gym like that. It looked so weird over there, and the audio was horrible.
Yeah, that was so corny. That whole thing, man. That was horrible.
It really was. It was bad.
It was so bad.
And
that guy sitting on
Oscar and that
ring
fucking
apron.
Oscar and that fucking Diaz guy, they look like somebody died. They look so pissed. They look like they had like scalpels.
Oh, Oscar was
so weird.
He was stewing. His face was red. You see that?
Why was he so irritated?
He didn't like the questions. He didn't like the answers that he didn't like what Abel Sanchez was saying. He didn't like what Golovkin was saying.
Abel Sanchez, they ought to thank Abel Sanchez. I mean, he was the only one there that was hyping that fight. He was the only one.
Abel Sanchez is such a freaking ball. He's a ball buster.
He said Charlo's not a marquee name. We don't want Charlo. We want Billy Joe Saunders next. Fucking clown. Well, since when did Dirty Sanchez started caring about marquee names? Were Wade and Macklin and fucking Rubio marquee names now? When Rosado was a marquee name?
That's how he gets
Curtis
paid.
Stevens was a marquee name?
Get
the fuck out of here.
Yeah, but Jason, you have to understand something. They know the end is near. They're cashing out now, bro. You got to understand, they're cashing out now.
He doesn't have many fights left.
He's got about 3 fights left. They're cashing out.
Sanchez reminds me of Eric. Eric looks like Sanchez's son. I mean, they could be like father and son duo right there. I mean, they both remind me of each other.
Eric is a part of Menzer. You're gonna insult Eric's intelligence?
Right. Exactly. Menzer right here. What are you doing?
Eric is my boy. He knows I'm just joking. Eric's my boy. I'm just kidding.
I love Jason's calls, man.
Hey guys, what other PBC fights are coming up? Do you know besides Mikey Easter or what else? Like Porter, fucking Danny. They said September 8th. It might be the new date.
Possibly.
Yeah, it's supposed to be September 8th. I thought. Right?
Thurman said in his comment section he's coming back September also.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, right. Yeah, who's he fighting?
At this point, guys, you
cares?
can't believe anything Keith Thurman says. I mean, honestly.
He's washed, son.
Yeah, he's kind of like Oscar nowadays.
Yeah,
I was gonna say if Manny beats Lucas, Manny versus Floyd might happen because Floyd's been spending money like a fucking retard, and he's gonna need money soon.
I told you.
He's gonna need that rematch.
I told you. He's coming
and dude,
back.
that fight could sell 2 million people. Yeah, but I mean I know that he spends money like he's like a sheikh or something from Saudi Arabia, but that Manny fight could still sell 2 million pay-per-views. I think. What do you think?
The second Manny fight? No. If he fought Manny again?
I have no
idea. Their names are so big, man. Their names are so big.
Nobody wants to see that fight again. After getting burned on the first
one? I
one?
think Matthysse will take care of that anyway.
You don't think so?
No.
I know Floyd's going to come back. He's going to need money soon. He's going to come back.
And he's not even like on the rap videos and everything like that. You see these guys where the music videos where they got the big cars and everything like that. All that stuff is like rented. All that stuff is like rented. It goes back to where it was afterwards. Floyd takes that to heart and actually buys that stuff.
No, Floyd's not. He just bought a fucking personal private jet, and he's got his personal pilots on 24-hour call. His pilots have their own Instagram accounts. That's how stupid he is. Like he as soon as he makes like $200 million of these fast food fights, he starts spending like it's gonna last him forever. He's stupid. He's got personal pilots. That's like
I've been telling you these things, and you've been defending the guy for years. I've been telling you these things for years, and I said I've been telling you these things for years about him, and you get. What are you talking about, Beeb? What are you talking about? Now you're saying them.
Hey, Beeb, you remember when the first time he called up and started going at me because I said something about Floyd Mayweather's bank account. He was like, "No, he's not. No, he's not broke. He's not."
No, you said he's broke. I didn't say he's broke. I'm saying he's gonna lose money. He's gonna lose money. He's not
of course
broke,
he was.
But he's not like 20.
How come Bill Gates? How come Bill Gates?
Investment too. That's sitting there. It's money.
How come Bill Gates and Warren Buffett wear Timex watches and they're billionaires, and this guy goes out and buys an $18 million watch? What for? What does that even mean?
Joe Lopez.
Those guys $2 million hard and paid
for a watch
for $50 million on
for a watch. You're probably only going to wear it twice.
Yeah, insane.
And I love when these people buy all these cars.
What about art? He should buy a Picasso or two. That should save him some money.
I love when these people buy 40 cars. How can you even drive 40 cars in a year?
Let's talk boxing, guys. Let's get off of this.
Yeah, hey guys, do you guys know if ESPN Plus app is going to ever release their ratings, like how these fights are doing? Can we ever know? Because last night I heard the app crashed for the Andy Ruiz undercard fight on the app. It was crashed for 8 rounds.
That's because so many people were tuning in to watch Andy Ruiz.
Shut up. That's what Aaron would say. That's what Aaron would say.
All right, Jason, we're going to get rolling.
Do you guys think they're going to release the numbers?
No,
all right, guys.
No, I don't.
Thank God.
No, I don't think they will release the numbers. I don't think they have to, and I don't think they will. I mean, kind of like satellite radio, they don't ever release numbers. They don't like how the talk shows and stuff like that are doing on there, the radio shows. I don't think they ever release numbers either. So no, it wouldn't surprise me if they never release numbers.
No, Sirius XM is not included in the Arbitron radio ratings or anything like that. It's because it's a pay. I'm a lifetime subscriber, so it's a paid service. It's not included in the Arbitron rating.
Right.
They don't like have downloads like you can tell like with Joe Rogan podcast how many downloads he gets. He gets like crazy hits every month.
He gets 500, but 500,000, I think it is. Downloads or
crazy.
No, I think he does more than that. I think Chael Sonnen does like 500,000 or something like that, but I think Rogan does like a couple of million.
Yeah, he's crazy.
Oh yeah, he's got all the big names on there too, man.
Oh yeah, I like that show.
I do too.
I like that show.
I do too, man.
I watch it all the time.
Yeah. Area code 805. You're live.
Well, Nacho, I feel bad for you. You got to follow that up, but welcome aboard.
Funny how he always follows Jason.
You know, what else do I expect? I don't expect him to ever fucking call in and be rational. He's fucking irrational.
He's like, Jason's like the undercard. Nacho's always the main event. He always comes after him.
He's drinking the Al Heyman Kool-Aid. What can I say?
Yeah, exactly. So what can you do about that? Nothing. You just accept it and move on. As far as the card last night, I have to admit, I think Cavalicious kind of put some pressure on himself, I think, to look good so that he would be in the running for that Crawford fight that everyone kept talking about.
He's not ready for that.
And he's not ready. Yeah, he's not. I think he needs a few more fights because if he was ready for that fight, he would have waxed that dude in like less than 6 rounds because that guy had no business being in there. He was just there to survive, and he managed to survive the full 10. And if Cavalicious was, ready, he would have gotten him out of there a lot sooner.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see what they do next. But then again, at the same time, I'm not sure I'm all that thrilled about Jose Benavidez getting the next shot if he's going to be the next guy in line either. Cause
no, you talking about against Ramirez?
No, I'm talking about the older brother fighting Crawford.
Oh, well, I think Terrence, that'll be easy work for Terrence. I mean, come on.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So
yeah.
Well, we'll have to see. The other fight, I was so disappointed in Ventus because the kid is talent and he looks like he could be a legit fighter. But I don't know what he was doing last night. He had that guy out on his feet a couple of times, and he just took his foot off the gas pedal and, like, went the distance. And I'm like, what are you doing, man? Like, you should have put this dude away like a few rounds before, and instead he let the guy survive, and he made him look better than he really was. And I don't know what's missing with that kid. It looks like he's got the total package, but yet he hasn't put it together. And I'm just wondering what it's going to take for him to go out there and try to, knock out some of these dudes to, make himself look better. Because when you're on national TV and you got a guy like that in front of you, you should be, rolling over guys like that. That dude had no business being there with him. The Alba was like levels below him, and I thought he should have beat him easily. As far as I don't know if you guys have heard or seen. Have you heard about the two guys that left TMT over the last couple of weeks with Saul Rodriguez and Mickey Bay, both walking away from Floyd's promotional company?
No, I did not hear
that.
I
heard about Mickey Bay. I heard about Mickey Bay. Mickey Bay. He's been very vocal about how bad he was
on Twitter, and he basically laid out his whole history over the last couple of years, and he basically was telling people on his Twitter account that Floyd and some people who were close to Floyd's inner circle were the ones that basically they've really just not let this kid get a fight the last couple of years, and they've blackballed him, and they've just basically tried to ruin his career. And I don't know, I guess something happened to where either he was able to buy himself out of the contract or he managed to get released. But it was interesting because Steve Kim actually asked him about what happened with the situation with Shavakov a couple of years ago when he had the lightweight title and he was supposed to defend against him. And the story was that they offered him $250,000 for the title defense, and apparently they said that he rejected that amount of money for the defense. He thought he deserved more money. But according to Mickey Bay, he said that he never rejected the offer. He said that some people in Floyd's inner circle basically put it in his ear that Bay was being disloyal and he wasn't trying to be part of the team. And at that point, they just kind of blackballed him from that point on. And the guys just had a hard time getting fights ever since that happened. And he just he told this whole story to Steve Kim. It was pretty interesting. I don't know if you guys are on Twitter, but if you get a chance, look at his account. And he just tells this whole story about what happened over the last couple of years with being with TNT and how they blackballed him. So I think you guys should check that out. And also,
I wonder who he'll sign with now.
Yeah, I don't know. They haven't said anything, but he said something about he thought he would get a chance to sign up with another promoter sooner rather than later. And then Saul Rodriguez was the kid that was with Robert Garcia, and he went to fight with Mayweather's promotion, but he hasn't fought since February of last year. So he's been on the shelf for almost a year and a half. And apparently now he did the same thing. Either he bought himself out of the contract or he got released. And now he's a free agent again also. And that kid, I don't know what the hell he was thinking, because Top Rank wanted to re-sign him and they would have kept him busy. They probably would have gotten him at least 4 or 5 fights in this year and a half, as opposed to the one fight he had with Mayweather's company. So I think that kid made a terrible mistake signing with them, and now he's lost a year and a half off his career. And it'll be interesting to see who he goes to next, because I don't know if Top Rank will take him back on, or maybe Golden Boy signs him, or what. But the kid has talent. He's been on the shelf for a year and a half, and I was starting to wonder what the hell happened to him. But now that he's a free agent, it'll be interesting to see who picks him up. As far as the fights this weekend, I'm picking. I think Matthysse is going to find a way to beat Manny. I just don't think Manny's got a whole hell of a lot left, and I think he's going to, find a way to get him. Although Matthysse is kind of on his last legs too. He didn't look all that great when he fought the Kiram dude in January, and I don't know. It's just, I think it's a perfect matchup between two big names that are getting old, and it'll be interesting to see which one of them gets at least one more payday and which one ends up having to pretty much hang up the gloves at this point.
Hell, since they're on the same level, we could wind up with a fight of the year candidate. That's
yeah, hopefully that's what happens. Yeah. Hopefully it does, Robbie. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think someone brought it up. When Ruiz was on, the fucking app crashed. That was really annoying because I wanted to see that fight and I only got to see the last 3 rounds of that fight. And I just was kind of hoping to see Ruiz, get in there and beat up on Kevin Johnson and maybe make a statement. But typical Andy Ruiz, he let some of these guys survive and get a decision, and he still looks out of shape.
Yep.
So when the app crashed, Nacho, excuse me.
Well, that's one reason not to purchase the app, because you never know when it's going to crash. I mean,
so Nacho,
this whole thing, it just blows my mind.
When the app crashed, let me ask you this: when the app crashed, like it was just down, like you had like nothing for how long?
Yeah, you had nothing. Like the first couple of fights that were on the app came out completely from beginning to end. But as soon as Ruiz's fight started, from round 1 all the way up until round 8, it crashed. They didn't put it back on until round 8. So you only got to see the last 3 rounds of that fight.
Oh my God, are you kidding me? You guys should call. You guys should call and get your money like for the month or something.
Yeah, it was horrible. I was like, what the hell's going on? I thought maybe it was just too many people trying to get onto the app or something, but every time
you know what I'm gonna do? You just gave me a good idea.
You would just say that.
You just gave me a good idea.
I would just say that.
Listen to this one, Nacho. I'm gonna buy the app so I can watch Pacquiao next week, and I'm gonna bitch and say I need a free month because the Ruiz fight went out. Beeb with the intelligence level.
Hey,
Beeb.
Hey, Beeb, do you think that
exactly.
the same people that run Blog Talk run ESPN Plus?
Probably, yeah. They're probably subsidiaries.
What about the people that run DAZN? DAZN is going to have the whole boxing series. I know people in Canada.
Why don't you just give out all our news tonight here?
Jesus.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, Nacho. We're going to get
terrible
running.
Just not being able to watch that fight, but all right, guys.
All right, man. Thank you.
See ya.
Thanks, Nacho.
Oh,
that's crazy, man. I'm calling up, man. I'm getting a free month.
Yeah, right.
From this day, you'll be my new fool.
Area code 508.
What's happening, people?
Georgie.
Full 100% retraction from last week. Full 100% retraction from last week.
Yeah.
Water under the bridge, guy. Water under the bridge. We got to move forward.
We got to move forward. We got this.
Listen, we got this Canelo situation. So let me get this straight. Canelo was in a pro circuit fucking satellite stream, right? It wasn't not even the same room.
No.
That's correct. They were both talking on different satellites in different locations.
So Canelo was chill from any type of serious question. I don't know if I got this wrong. This was in Spanish and then translated in English. Hello.
Yeah.
Eric, I don't know how to answer that.
You don't know how to answer? Canelo only speaks Spanish?
The interview was...
Well, yeah. No. I know that.
The first time around, all the questions were in English and then translated into Spanish.
Right.
Now we see what's the other way around. The question were in Spanish and then translated in English.
All right.
Baby, if you guys don't see a robbery on the making, I don't know what to tell you. These mafia don't give two fucks about Las Vegas so commissioner and all that bullshit. They don't give two fucks about what anybody said. Triple G's gonna get robbed. Clear as day. Clear as day, baby. Triple G getting old. Listen, Triple G getting old. Canelo is relatively young still, and he's the money maker. I mean, that shit is no more clear than that. I don't even know what to say. They're gonna get robbed. That's it.
I don't know, man. I tell you, if it does go, if we get another bad decision, that I tell you what, Las Vegas is going to be under some big scrutiny here because that we got a bad decision the first time around. I don't know that we'll get another bad decision.
Maybe these people are shameless. Doesn't matter. Everything. The people fucking expansion, attention span is more than fucking 2 or 3 days, and they move on to the next shit. They move on. There's not gonna be no witch hunt. They're not gonna be a couple of days. People gonna fucking talk shit, but that's it.
So, Georgie,
as usual.
So Georgie, let me get this straight. You think the fight will go the distance, and you think Canelo will get a unanimous decision?
Not unanimous, but just enough to fucking get him past the hoop by a point two. You know how they fucking pre-get these fucking scorecards straight from the fucking mafias.
Yeah, I don't see either fighter getting knocked out.
I'm fight because I'm a box. Huh?
I said I don't see either fighter getting knocked out. I see it going to another decision.
It's going to another decision, baby. That's not a no-brainer, bro. I mean, anybody want to put a pie in the line? More than glad.
I'll do it.
Who's the bet in there?
I'll take a pie bet.
All right, we got an official bet.
See, now you got to work your way back up to official champion status, Georgie. You got to work your way back up to the #1 contender spot. See, you lose, and then you got to come back. You know, you just don't get another shot at the champ. You got to go through Beeb now. You guys got to go after each other for the #1. Hey, that's what it is. I mean, sanctioning bodies. Hey, all ties lose.
No,
son.
last one was a draw, and the champion keeps the title.
All
baby.
ties
That's
lose, baby. All ties lose.
Not for too long, Robbie. Not for too long. Coming back.
Okay.
Coming back. The number was never there.
So that's it. That's it for that Canelo situation. That thing is just smell funny all the way, man. That's a dead issue. Not even worth talking about it.
Okay.
Now, today that we're not fighting and everybody's calm and we're in a civilized, mood, could you explain to me who on Wilder's record is better than Parker?
I can't.
I actually think Ortiz is a better fighter than Joseph Parker. I would pick Ortiz to beat Parker. I would. My opinion.
Did they ever got a belt?
Ortiz had the WBA regular title before.
But Georgie, who did Joseph Parker beat for his belt? You got to consider that too.
Maybe that's the same type of guys that Wilder beat for his belt. I mean,
Wilder beat Stavern for his belt. Joseph Parker beat Andy Ruiz. Pacquiao Stavern. Are we gonna go that low? So who do you consider, Georgie? Who do you consider to be a better fighter, Bermane Stavern or Andy Ruiz?
Ruiz.
Yep. It's the
no question. No question.
Stavern fell through the cracks of the boxing fucking sport. He fell through the cracks. It ain't like this dude really achieved shit. Like he was reigning and defending for you. The longest is no compliment that you can put on Stavern. What's his accolades? Could you name an accolade that Stavern got?
No, you can't.
You can't. Parker got a little more credibility because he got the real belt.
Well, they both had real belts. Parker had the WBO, Stavern had the WBC. So they both had real belts. Right.
But Parker is better, like technically better, even though he got the real belt. Well, let's not call the real belt from the WBC, but this is the thing. The competition, how these people acquire these belts, is suspect to start with.
Well, I'm not going to argue that. That I agree with.
So I mean, we can go around this fucking rabbit hole all night long, and we're really not going to find no real competition because the heavyweight division is thin when it comes to guys out there.
So who wins, Georgie, Matthysse or Pacquiao?
Then Pacquiao should have enough in the tank to pull this one out. But Then we got to fucking equate the Mafia situation. Once again, they ruled this bitch. Pacquiao his way out. And the way Matthysse has his WBA knocking out that, what's a Filipino? What was it? Vietnamese? A Vietnamese dude that he took a dive? That's another sign there. You know what I'm saying? That's another sign that some fucked up decision may come fucking Mathisse's way. They could have given that belt just to make the fight with Pacquiao to get people interest, but it's hard to predict this Mafia and who they're going to back at the end of the day. Like, this boxing shit is going so WWE lately, it's not even funny. Gossip all around, baby. If people don't put the AJ Eddie Hearn on the title, nobody even watch videos no more. I can't wait to see Wilder fight Brazil. To see how the view's gonna be. How many people gonna click in without putting the AJ on the title? AJ is the man who create all the gossip. All the gossip. Like if somebody says that Wilder is fucking piggybacking out of AJ's name, he's absolutely right. I mean, you can put Wilder in the show, and if you ain't talking about AJ, nobody gonna watch it. Like nobody go to see his fight.
Yeah, but it's only making Wilder's name bigger. It's only making Wilder's name bigger because even people in the UK are talking about Wilder now. Every interview Eddie Hearn does,
in the mix.
Every interview Eddie Hearn does, he's got to answer Deontay Wilder questions. So that only makes Deontay Wilder bigger, in my opinion.
That's right.
Beautiful campaign. That's the fantastic propaganda shit. That's the only route that they can go. What they're gonna do? Talk about Brazil?
But it's working. It's just like when Anthony Joshua was getting ready to fight Joseph Parker. All he was being asked about all week was about Deontay Wilder. Like this fight keeps getting bigger. I'm telling you. By April 13th, when this fight happens, it's going to be bigger than that. This may even be. It may even be good that this fight didn't happen next. If Joshua wins.
Yeah, if both guys win, this is going to be a huge fight. I don't, you talk about from a promotional standpoint, having this fight wait till next year, I don't think it's such a bad thing. From a fan standpoint, obviously it is, but from a promotional standpoint, I don't think it's the worst thing for it.
Eric, I have more faith, though, in Deontay Wilder beating Dominic Brazil than I do Anthony Joshua getting by Povetkin, just because of Povetkin's experience.
Well, I mean, let's put it this way. I mean, I'd have more faith with Deontay Wilder getting past anybody because he doesn't fight anybody. He doesn't fight any named guys. So Povetkin is a big guy. So, yeah, I mean, clearly it's going to be on
let him burn, Eric. Let him burn.
Clearly it's going to be on Povetkin, Povetkin and AJ. But I think that AJ has got, I think Povetkin is a little bit older. I think that AJ is, again, I think it's a big fight on paper. I think AJ wipes him, though. I really do. I don't think it's that competitive.
AJ is listen to this, though. AJ is a 15-1 favorite. He's a 15-1 favorite over Povetkin.
That's big.
That's huge.
Yeah. They don't. I mean, that against Povetkin.
I mean, those odds are crazy. That's a really close fight.
You know how I see this fight going down? I see it going down
3-1 or something like that.
You remember, I see it being handled a lot like the Stavern Wilder first fight, in the sense that everybody thought that that was going to be a real close fight. That Stavern, a lot of people favored Stavern. It was going to be a close fight, and it wasn't close at all. Wilder showed you a new wrinkle in his game and everything with that jab and everything like that. He outboxed him, and I think that the AJ fight is going to go down a lot the same way.
Okay. To close my call, I just want to say that I don't see AJ losing to Wilder whenever they fight. Because if we've seen Wilder's career, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong. I have never seen a Wilder fight that he's winning. Never. He's always down 4-5. I'm not on the scorecard because we know how these fucking robberies go, and they're always going to have him up regardless if he's losing. But for a serious fighting boxing fan that watched the fight, I never seen this man dominating like this is like he's kicking ass.
Right. Well,
he come back with a right hand.
Well, Georgie,
that's what he does.
Georgie Wilder, I'll agree with you on this point. Wilder has never been in a tough fight. He's never had to come back and prove himself. He's never been put on the canvas and had to get back up and prove.
Well, he was hurt. He was hurt against Ortiz, though, Robbie. Yeah, Robbie, he came back against Ortiz, Robbie.
This man been outclassed for the last 4 fights, and he got bailed out by a right hand.
Yep.
So, I'm sorry, B, but when you say that he's not predictable, yeah, he's fucking predictable. He's predictable as hell. All you gotta do is watch the right hand, because he's knocking nobody out with no left hook, with no right hook, with no uppercut, with no 45 degree. This motherfucker just got that trick, one trick pony, that right hand. That's all AJ gotta watch out for. If he watch out for that, it should be an easy roll to the top. Easy grabbing of that WBC belt.
It's just hard. It's just hard to prepare for that right hand because he throws it so many different ways, so many different. Like you think he's out of range when he throws it, and he still touches you with it. That's the thing. It's just, and he's I don't know. I used to think AJ would win. I picked AJ to win last year. And I'm still favoring AJ slightly, but the more time that goes on, and the more I just like this is the thing. You can continuously say, yeah, the guy's behind in fights, and you're right. He's been behind last 5 fights. He's been behind, but they keep ending the same way. Like if it's so easy to get away from that right hand, why aren't people getting away from it? That's the big question. You know what I'm saying? I used to say the same thing. All he's got is a right hand.
When Ortiz got knocked down. When Ortiz got knocked down, it was because he wanted to make a statement. He was always in position to counter. That was Ortiz's mistake. If Ortiz would have boxed him a little bit more, and instead of trying to exchange with him like that, he would have fucking cruised. He was winning that shit like 7 rounds to 3 or some shit like that.
No, he was up. He was up. Yeah, he was up.
Yeah, but he was up. Ortiz's big mistake in there is
he was the wrong
running out of gas.
That's the wrong plan. Don't trade with these dudes. Jab and move, touching here and there. First thing you know, 12 round passed away, and you grab that belt easy. That's it. Back that motherfucker back to Alabama. Pretty much that's my call. Everybody watching the channel, please support. Give these people a thumb up. That's all they ask for. I'm outie.
All right. Thank you, Georgie. Very good. Very good. Before we go back to the phones here, let me read a little more news here. James DeGale vacates his title rather than fight Jose Uzcategui. James DeGale chose to vacate his IBF super middleweight title. Now the rumor is that he's looking to fight Chris Eubank Jr. Seriously? I guess it's just as well, man. I think Uzcategui would smash DeGale, to be honest with you. I think that's a terrible fight for DeGale.
Yeah.
DeGale, listen, man, I've said it from the get-go. I've always thought he was overrated. He's never shown me anything, to be honest with you. I think he's overrated. He's overhyped, and I think he's been that way for the entire duration of his career, to be honest. But Chris Eubank Jr.,
I thought it was Billy Joe Saunders, possibly. That was also a name that I heard. I don't know.
Yeah, that could be too. I'm hearing, but the rumor is Chris Eubank Jr. and it could be Billy Joe Saunders. I mean, there's no real reason given to why other than he doesn't want to fight Uzcategui.
Uzcategui would have ended his career.
Oh, 100%.
He would have ended his career.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, I'm going to sound like a hypocrite here because normally I'd be all over this. I'd be very critical of what James DeGale did, but I'm going to be honest with you. He knows there's not much time left. He's probably got 2 fights left, 3 at best.
Maybe.
Why not cash out?
Yeah, and that's what he's doing, and that's what he's doing. So there you go. Nonito Donaire.
Well,
go ahead.
I was going to ask about Billy Joe Saunders. If he takes a DeGale fight, does that signify that he wants to move up to 168?
I don't know. I don't know. But Billy Joe Saunders isn't going anywhere. He's not going up to 160.
No, I heard that. I heard that the Gale would fight for the Gale would move down. That's what I heard.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Okay.
All right.
Go ahead, Eric.
So Nonito Donaire joins the World Boxing Super Series. I'll tell you what, this is going to be amazing, man. Both divisions in the series is just stacked. And I can't wait. And then Regis Prograis and the winner between him and is it Velasco he's fighting? I want to say Velasco.
Yeah, I think so.
If Prograis wins that fight, he's going to be in the World Boxing Super Series next too. So that's going to be awesome. That's going to be awesome too. Now, Beeb, you'll find this interesting. DAZN, a multi-million-dollar deal has been reached. Streaming giant DAZN is going to broadcast every minute of the World Boxing Super Series now.
Beautiful.
So does this make you more likely to purchase DAZN now?
Well, you, and Robbie are all you and Robbie are going to chip in. We're going to get it together, and we're going to all have the same, and we're all going to have the same username, and we'll log into the app with the same username. Let me ask you a question: is that possible?
I don't know.
You give someone your username and password. Can you log in?
You should be able to, but now can we watch it at the same time? That I don't know.
That's a good question. We watch at the same time. We're at different residences.
Right.
Got to do some research on that.
And I wasn't joking. There's a lot of people in Canada that still haven't gotten their money back from the NFL fiasco. I really don't think that this service is all what it's cracked up to be.
I don't know.
We're gonna give the whole chat. We'll give the whole chat the username and password. We're all chip in. We'll end up paying 25 cents each a month for this thing.
That's right.
Before it's all said and done.
It'll be Ringside Reporter password, whatever, and then we'll log in and we'll
password. Ringside Reporter 1. Password right. Beeb Industries.
That's right.
Log right in.
That's it. It'll be like a community account, you know what I mean?
Oh,
Everybody
yeah.
puts in a little bit, and everybody goes home a winner on Ringside Reporter. That's
what I'm saying.
Shakur Stevenson was arrested for battery this weekend. He was charged with misdemeanor battery early Sunday morning for his alleged role in a brawl at a parking garage in Miami. This is not a good look for Stevenson. He better get it under control. It doesn't sound like it was too big of a deal, but he better get himself under control. Orlando Siri Salido, elected to public office. He's been elected as a state deputy in Sonora, Mexico for the 16th district in his hometown of Ciudad Obregón, Sonora.
Even after he stole the beer, he got elected to office?
How about that?
How is that possible?
Hey, we're living in that era, man. Anybody can say.
Oh, my God.
You're right there.
He stole the beer. Did he pay for it afterwards?
I don't think he did. He was arrested. I don't get it, man. All right, let's go back to the phones. Area code 804 is here with another banger. Corey.
Banger!
Hello, Corey.
Corey, what's happening?
Hey, how's everybody doing today?
Good, man. Good.
Doing great.
How you doing today, man?
Yeah,
fabulous.
Yeah, man. What's going on, Robbie, Eric, and Beeb Industries?
I talked to Beeb Industries. We're gonna make a banger T-shirt. We're gonna make a banger T-shirt. Back with another. We're gonna put Corey Lee's box at the top of it. Underneath it, back with another banger.
That's it.
I think we'll hit it out of the park. I already talked to some people over at Beeb Industries PR team and the design team. We have a good marketing scheme for this T-shirt. Go ahead, though.
Man, I'm down, dude.
All right.
But yeah, man. I want to talk about Kell Brook, man. I don't think y'all got into the Kell Brook news that I shot the brand new video about 3 hours ago. Kell Brook just got stripped of his WBC silver junior middleweight title for not entering the VADA clean boxing program.
I heard something about that. Yeah, I heard something about that. But he has a WBC silver title.
Oh, yeah. So it's official. So, yeah, it's official.
Yeah.
The WBC rankings for good. you know, for right now. And, you know, it's not looking good for Kell Brook. You know what I mean? Maybe he's going to go another route. Maybe he's going to go to Jarrett Hurd route as well.
Jarrett Hurd
right
kill
now,
him.
But, you know, right now, man, it's one of those type of situations where, you know, I truly don't understand, you know what I mean, why he's not, you know what I mean, gonna enroll in that. You know what I mean? Is that a sign of that he could possibly be using, you know, performance enhancement drugs? Or he could be using any other drugs, because from what I heard, Kell Brook likes to party hardy. And he's a big party guy. You know, in the UK, the choice of drug is cocaine, a la Tyson Fury, and a slew of others, Ricky Hatton. I mean, you got a slew of others out there. So with that being said, man, buy the test for all of that stuff. You know what I mean? Even marijuana. So you got to be clean through and through. And they come to test you 24/7, baby. And if you're dirty, it's gonna show. It's a very, very strenuous program that they run, and I think it's the best out of all the sanctioning bodies. I truly do. I truly think that the WBC is the best out of the WBA, the WBO, and the IBF. The WBC clean boxing program, I think, is the best. I think it's the most strenuous. And you know, from what I'm hearing, the IBF, you know, protocol pretty much is pretty much let's just say you get tested, you know, on a Saturday, they pretty much tell you, oh, we're coming the following Friday to come test you. What kind of drug test is that, man? Get the fuck out of here. That's some bullshit.
But just to play devil's advocate here for a minute, let me jump in and play devil's advocate for a minute. Is that, okay, so the WBC has this protocol, but when they get popped for PEDs, nothing happens. They still fight. Look at Canelo. Nothing happens.
Yep, look at Canelo.
And who was the other guy that got caught for, you know, tainted meat?
Like I said,
Francisco Vargas.
Yeah.
Canelo got suspended.
Yeah, for 6 months, Corey. For 6 months.
Hold on, Robbie. Canelo got suspended, buddy.
Yeah, but so what? He's fighting 6 months later.
Corey.
Yeah.
He got
what kind of suspension is 6 months for PEDs?
Yeah, but
6 months?
But you said that nothing happened.
Nothing did.
And Robbie,
for 6 months.
You want to jump in, Robbie? You too, Robbie.
No, 6 months. Come on. If you
come on, what? He got suspended. It ain't my fault. I mean, I don't.
You have to.
Robbie, imagine if you got suspended for 6 months and you couldn't watch any boxing. How would you feel, Robbie?
Me and Beeb Industries doesn't run the WBC BOTA program. Robbie and Eric. Come on, guys.
Well, you're saying it's a great program. I'm saying it's a lousy program.
We don't sanction the rules. Eric clearly said that nothing happened to Canelo, and I clearly stated that something did happen to Canelo.
Corey, if you look at it realistically, though, nothing really did happen. Yes, he got suspended. Okay, but look at it. He got suspended from February to August.
But hold on, Robbie. Hold on. Eric said nothing happened to him. That was his exact words.
Yeah.
Okay, back to some more news, man. Since I pretty much killed both of y'all on that one.
Newsflash: Kell Brook. The news on Kell Brook is that he's looking for a fight.
Well, I got a fight for him, Amir Khan. Amir Khan.
He's gonna get one. He's got a name, man. So he's gonna get one. He's definitely gonna get one. I just think that the WBC was too strenuous on him. You know what I mean? And
Amir Khan, that's his fight. But, there you go.
Yeah, but if Amir Khan doesn't want it, Robbie, then the fight doesn't happen, Robbie. So back to some other news. Tyson Fury has been recently, as of 3 hours ago, he's been ranked by the WBC, and he's number 7. I just dropped a video about that before I came on here.
Yeah, that's a bang-up organization.
So
number 7.
Ranked in the WBC. He's ranked number 7 in the WBC ranking, and he has 90 days to enlist in the BADA clean boxing program.
So he has until October to enlist. Okay.
So yeah, so you know what I mean. And I mean, like I said, I think Tyson Fury would be good. Maybe that's a fight that he could. Maybe that's a fight since Eddie Hearn has all of the shenanigans and all of the loopholes about fighting Anthony Joshua, and he's putting you through the goddamn gauntlet. Excuse my language, but he's putting you through the gauntlet to fight him. You know what I mean? I mean, look what Deontay Wilder had to go through. You know what I mean? And you said another thing about Deontay Wilder too, Robbie, that I didn't really care for. You said that Deontay Wilder has never been tested. That was your exact words.
No, he's never been tested.
Luis Ortiz didn't test him in the 7th round of the fight that they had.
I don't consider that a real test.
What?
What the fuck? Are you serious, Robbie?
Yeah, he didn't go down. He didn't go down.
He was out though. He was out on his feet. I thought he was out on his feet.
Hey, we need Robbie on the WBC program.
you need him on the VADA program and the rankings so he can make those rankings.
Oh my God, yo, this dude is off his rocker. I think he's too old. But yeah, man, he
Whoa.
in the 7th round, Robbie, and he definitely got challenged. You know what I'm saying? And I really think that the Luis Ortiz fight, you got to give Deontay Wilder tons of credit for fighting him, because let's be honest, Anthony Joshua didn't want any parts of Luis Ortiz when he was signed with Eddie Hearn. So Deontay Wilder, he wasn't even rated in the WBC, and Deontay Wilder still fought him. You know what I mean? And I truly, and he failed a drug test, and Deontay Wilder still fought him. He still fought him, Robbie. And you're still saying that Luis Ortiz wasn't a test for Deontay Wilder? Get your medications checked, buddy.
I don't think so.
Get your medications checked, buddy. You're mixing prescriptions. But yeah, man, my personal opinion about the whole situation is I think Deontay Wilder definitely got tested. I think he's a great, advocate for clean boxing program. And I truly think that the next in line, in my personal opinion, I think a great fighter to watch out for and a great unification match that I want to see that's coming up is Usyk versus Gassiev.
Yeah, that's gonna be a fight.
We got 2 more weeks left, and that's gonna be a great fight. I've had Usyk on my pound for pound #1 list for 1 year now. So I truly think that Usyk is the #1 pound for pound fighter in the world. And until he gets beaten, until I get proved otherwise, I think he'll make a great heavyweight. He won Olympic gold medal at heavyweight, and I truly think that he can bang with the big boys. He definitely outpointed and outmuscled Joe Joyce in the world boxing series, and it was a good fight, but Usyk almost won every fucking round, so. I think Usyk it would be another great advocate for clean boxing program. You know what I mean? He's been through Olympic testing. He's been through the WBC. He's been through the WBC testing and stuff like that. And I think a lot of YouTube channels are too easy. They use the word cheat too frequently. When it comes to boxers and cheating and using performance enhancement drugs. It's got to a point now. I was on a live stream. I'm going to wrap this up pretty quick.
90 seconds.
Okay. And they pretty much said that Usyk was juicing, and I quote, Usyk is juicing because he has too much energy. And I quote, he said Usyk was juicing because Usyk has too much energy from 1 to 12. In the 12th round, he has the same energy as in the first round.
Who said this?
That was his exact quote. And he's a
60 seconds.
Put him out there, man. But, I was on his channel about, 2 days ago, and I'm always on his channel. He has over 10,000 subscribers, and a lot of people listen to him. And it's just like, are you serious?
Yeah, that's irresponsible, man.
Is that what the boxing is? Is that what boxing is coming to now?
Yeah, that's irresponsible.
Like, is that what boxing is coming to now? Where we can't even, we're accusing fighters of cheating, and they've never failed in the Olympics. They never failed in the, in the amateurs or whatever. If they did get tested in the amateurs, I don't know if they do or not. But the Olympics, because you can pretty much call the Olympics amateurs. So he didn't cheat in the amateurs, the Olympics.
10 seconds.
And he was he has 2 belts. Music has 2 belts. He has the WBC belt, and he has I think it's the WBO belt. But yeah, man, like I said, man. And the last thing I want to say before I head out, you guys, I just did a remarkable, very entertaining interview with Jarrett Hurd's head trainer, Ernesto Rodriguez. It's on my YouTube channel, man, and I hope all you guys check it out. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. He said a lot of good, great things on there. Jarrett Hurd will be fighting in November. Breaking news. So I think it was a great interview. He also stated one more thing, you guys, that he said Laura called out Jermell Charlo, and we've yet to hear from Charlo. Charlo's always so quick to, come back and, bark and lions only. And as soon as Laura called him out, cricket. That's my call. You guys have a great night. Robbie, Beeb, and Eric. Robbie, stay off the medication. You guys have a great night. God.
Corey Lee Boxing. You can catch Corey Lee. You can catch Corey Lee Boxing on YouTube. He's got a good shows up there. He's interviewing people and stuff like that. So very good, man. Go check him out. What were you saying, Robert?
I'm starting to get concerned about some people, man. I really am. You got Jason drinking the Al Heyman Kool-Aid. Now you have Corey drinking the Mauricio Suleiman Kool-Aid, talking about the WBC program. I mean, come on,
just
people.
A quick question on that. Does it cost the boxers money to enroll in that program? Do they have to pay for their own tests and everything?
I think it does, but I don't know for sure.
I'm not sure.
Jeez.
I don't know that for sure.
I don't think anybody tests for free.
Yeah, I was gonna say that would cost them a lot of money, especially with all the fighters. I would imagine they have to pay something. So I mean, yeah, for Kell Brook, if he's not interested in anybody in the WBC, why enroll in it? I don't know.
Yeah.
There you go. All right, that'll do it for this edition of Ringside Reporter. As always, you can catch Robert on Twitter at Ringside Robert, or you can call Ringside Robbie's Corner at 917-259-1810 and leave him a message. You can catch Joe Habib on Twitter at JHabib1. Find his YouTube channel at beatingtheoddswithbeeb.com. I'm at Ringside 73, and we will see you next week.
Hasta la vista, folks.
Thank you.